We were busy discussing container registries and Docker images and stuff, so we were running a couple of minutes late, but you're all very welcome this morning to another stand-up vlog in the course 2DV013. Welcome Mats, welcome Diego. We will have to do without Niklas today, I think. For me, at last, the Tech Heads conference is over. It was a lot of focus on that for me last week. Met a lot of students, some of you, and we actually watched a infrastructure as code lecture by Tieto Every, where they talked a lot about Terraform. They talked a lot about Ansible and how they use that in practice. And Andreas and Henrik, who had that lecture, have promised to give that in this course as well, just as a connection to the industry and how do Tieto Every work with those techniques in their big projects. So hopefully that will happen in the following 2 weeks or something. They have also been asked by Karlstad University actually to have the same lecture there. So they probably have some IOC, something in the infrastructure part at Karlstad as well. And you were all busy. If I have read all the comments in the chat, it has been an Ansible week with some maybe hassle with Windows, or am I correct on that, or has it worked smoothly in Windows? I've seen Windows a lot, so
yeah, the connection. So using the configuring the keys and giving the Ansible the key to work and having the key with the correct permissions has been a common factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe for Windows we didn't have the answer so quickly. So the thread get longer.
Yeah. And but hopefully everybody has been able to sort it out now. And is there is there any general tips for Windows? Something that okay, always think about this and you'll be fine, or?
There are instructions on how to install it and the characteristics that the Windows should have. But yeah, the same that happens for Linux. But when there are some specific problems like the writing permissions for the private key, when you copy it, it's not read-only, so the SSH does not like. And when somebody has passed several times through these problems, you can solve them quickly when they are the first time. And for the Windows machines where the first time, they take more time.
Yeah, Sebastian is right. Some configuration is needed for Windows subsystem Linux, is it that VSL, to make Ansible work on Windows. So some additional configuration needed. I haven't been able to look at that, and especially not on Windows, since I don't have a Windows machine.
But I have.
You have.
Yes, just Google it and you will find the answer, as usual.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah. Great.
I managed to solve the problem without reading the Slack messages. I think.
Okay. Yeah. I since I'm behind in the course, I don't really know actually. So looking forward then to this week. This is the last theory part, Diego, right, in this first part of the course. Now we have looked at creating machines, we have looked at Terraform, we have looked at Ansible, and now it's the last step in the first part. And what will that be about?
Yeah, I have a few slides. So
Yep.
It's the correct moment to...
Yep, just go.
Okay, let me first go. This one.
There we go.
If I share this. Yeah. So yeah, this week is the last one and fourth one. And this week we are going to learn about continuous integration, continuous delivery principles and practices, and how the deployment pipeline, what is a deployment pipeline and how it supports continuous integration and continuous delivery practices. And yeah, we will also get some experience with a tool that supports continuous integration and continuous delivery. So we separate these goals into theory and practice. So as theory, understand concept, principles, and benefits of continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. You will see that these three terms are the three main terms in the continuous thing, and they are not exactly the same. So you will read some articles to understand them and to see the differences. And then we also need to understand the concept of a deployment pipeline and how it is related to teams that want to follow continuous integration and continuous delivery practices in their software development. And then as practice, we will get familiarity with a tool that supports teams that want to follow this CI/CD. And we will create our first deployment pipeline. And our deployment pipeline will execute automatically every time that we do a change in our software project. So every time that we do a push, we will have some automatic steps that work on our project. They can compile or package. They could apply some tests and maybe deploying some environments for like staging or for continuous integration or integration testing or performance capacity testing. Yeah. So now let's go to the theory. And this goal we separate into a list of sub-goals. So we need to know what is continuous integration, to know what continuous delivery is, and also the same for continuous deployment, and the differences between these three concepts above. Yeah, if you read about the three concepts, you can imagine the differences yourself. But since there are several articles that are explicitly written for the difference between these three, so we will learn from external sources. We will not think ourselves about the differences. Then we will learn about the motivation, benefits of CI/CD and its properties, principles. And then we will briefly have the goal of knowing what is the deployment pipeline and how it is related to continuous integration and continuous delivery practices. So we have to keep in mind that continuous integration is not a tool, it's a set of practices. Even with the best tool for continuous integration and continuous delivery, if the mindset of the developers is not to push frequently and following the principles, is not going to work. The continuous delivery, the tool that supports continuous delivery. So this is quite important and fundamental theoretical concept that I want you to have in mind and to interiorize. So, and to learn these sub goals, and for the general goal, I give you here some links. I will put them now in these slides on Slack. Now I'm sharing a screen, so I don't see the Slack. Otherwise, I would do it right now. So we have some resources for the description, motivation, benefits, and principles of continuous integration and continuous delivery. We have the continuousdelivery.com, the continuous delivery site. if you go to this site, on the left, you see this menu and more. But if you can read this part of the menu, introduction, principles, the 3 categories for the foundations and the 3 categories for implementing continuous delivery, yeah, that would be great. Then in the same site, they have a blog and they posted also the differences between continuous integration and continuous delivery. So there is another article that only focus on the differences. Here it is. And then I have put some other links about the view of different organizations, important organizations or representative people that are available on the internet. Then I will give you a link to a book, and if you can read the book, it will be the primary source of information. So for Red Hat has a view on continuous integration. So here you have the link. What is continuous integration, continuous delivery? You can skip the section where they explain the tools for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Atlassian has a view as well, and an article on the differences between continuous integration, delivery, and deployment. Here you have a link on the Amazon Web Services view on continuous integration. And this is more about motivation for continuous integration from ThoughtWorks. If I don't expect that you read all of them. Actually, if you read the first, the second, and you are already in the third, you will start to think that this is repetitive, and they are trying to explain the same. So you will see that there is a big overlap between what they say. But since we are not using the book because it's for 1 week, maybe it's too much to buy it. It's better to have at least different views if those views come from companies.
And I don't remember now. Niklas has taken my book, the ones that we will start with after this. But maybe, if I'm not wrong, there might have been like an introductory chapter as well about continuous integration, continuous delivery. I don't actually remember, but Mats is looking at it right now, so
Okay.
we will see. But if there is, of course, you could probably read that as well. But we will, maybe you don't have the book yet, so.
Yeah. So this about CI/CD, and then about the deployment pipeline. Here are a couple of resources as well. The Martin Fowler's view, explanation of the deployment pipeline, and the Atlassian view as well, the pipeline for continuous delivery. And last year we had previous years we had a course on continuous delivery, and we follow with a book. So there are several videos about the contents, and I put here 2 links. You see that the URL is the same because the video is like almost, I think it's almost 2 hours, but this starts, they start at different time. And one is the chunk after the other. So if you start watching this and you go long, then you will pass automatically to this. Yeah, these are online resources, and if possible, the primary source, and it's a book that is available at the library in Becco and Kalmar. The continuous delivery reliable software releases through build, test, and deployment automation book from Campbell and Farley. In case that you have the book, chapters 1 and 5 would be the best ones to read, because chapter 1 gives introduction and motivation principles and why CI/CD is good. And chapter 5 explains the deployment pipeline. So, one thing, chapter 5 is available on the internet, and here you have the link. But if you follow this Martin Fowler's view on deployment pipeline, this article also links to this, to chapter 5 of that book. So this, you will see that this is not a PDF, it's a web, but a web with 10 pages. So you have the next. You don't think that is only a post as the rest of links that we have put. Yeah, and this for the theory. So as you know, there is not written exam, so you don't need to learn by heart. But yeah, keep in mind the principles to mostly know why you are doing what we are going to do in the practice.
And
No,
there is a oral exam in the end, so maybe
Okay.
there will be a question regarding this as well. I was totally wrong. The book that we have in the next part, it doesn't touch upon continuous integration, not that much at least. So yeah, forget what I said about that one. I mixed it up with another one. However, we have, if you have this one since the first grade, when we like touched upon continuous integration, just mentioning it, then the Ian Summer will, you might be able to also look in that one a little bit if you like.
Yeah. So about the practice, the goal for the practice is to create a continuous delivery pipeline. And this pipeline, after every change that we make in our application, so this is every time that we push to something to the repository, or even if we could make a pull request, this pipeline will execute and will perform a series of operations. So these operations can be compile the code, package, execute some tests. We could even deploy it to production, and for sure we will deploy in some other environments that are not the production, like staging or for capacity testing. Actually, we will use our experience from last weeks. We configuring infrastructure with Ansible and the provisioning it with Terraform, and we will focus on creating one of the operations in the pipeline. That is the operation that deploys the newest version of the application in an environment, in an execution environment that we call staging, because it will not be the final production. So we will not focus so much on other stages like the testing. For this, you will have to use your previous experience on testing and add the information for testing in that for that operation. But together we will work on the deploying stage.
A question then, Diego. So is like the focus here, is it to also the stage, if we look at the staging environment, is it so when we create a new release or we do a change in our software, should the staging environment be created using like Ansible and created and then the code should be pushed to that environment, or should like the environment already be there and what we do in the pipeline is just to push the code to that already set up environment?
We will do all. So we will start from a simple. So we will create our pipeline iteratively. So the first step for this deploy stage will assume that the environment is up and running with and configured. So we just need to copy our data to that environment, and then the staging is working. Then we will assume that we also have to configure, because but it's up and running, the machine. But we configure it because maybe in previous tests they have misconfigured. So then we will do two steps: the copy our data and also configuring the environment. And this is where our previous Ansible experience comes. because if we have the Ansible playbooks, we can execute Ansible within the pipeline, and it will do the configuration and data movement. And then if we have time during this week, but I'm not so confident of that, we will start creating the provisioning the infrastructure full. So this means adding also Terraform. Maybe this we can also separate into 2 steps to see up to when we arrive in a week. We can create it with Terraform every time that we push, but maybe the floating IP is fixed, so Terraform creates the server and the security groups, and but the floating IP remains the same. In that way, we don't need to make Terraform interact so much with Ansible inside the pipeline. And then if somebody still has time during this week, then the full integration. So from having nothing in our staging environment, the pipeline has to provision all the resources with Terraform, then calls Ansible to configure with the most recent push that has been the push that triggered the pipeline, and then the system will be up and running for testing. So we will follow an incremental approach to see how much we can do during this week.
Perfect.
Yeah. So to create the deployment pipeline, we will use the GitLab continuous integration and continuous delivery tool. You have here a couple of links about the most general and then the quick start. You don't need to read the whole page, so it's full of links. But if you can read the first paragraphs of both, would be good. So at least to know what will go in more depth during the seminar. But it's not required that you read it before the demo this afternoon. But what it would be good that you do, that you arrive to this afternoon and you have created a project in GitLab with a repository. And in that repository, you have two folders. In one folder, you put some data that in our case, it was, since the data we had was like a website, a simple website, and our customized index.html, you put that. And in the second folder, you put everything. You copy what you have done this week for Ansible, and you put it there, and in the same structure. So the same structure of files and folders that you have created this week. And then we will create the pipeline iteratively. So first it will worry only about the folder with the application data, and then it will use the second folder, the Ansible, for configuring everything. So
now
yeah.
I'm just remembering. I need to check the state because I think someone mentioned it and I might have forgotten. So in the course, if we look at GitLab in the course on the students, if I enter a students repository, then we have we only have the secrets folder there now. And Mats, I think that, let's see. If I remember right, you are not allowed to create your own projects inside of that since you're only developers. But if I will do this I will do that manually right now. For all students, you will become, Mats, do you remember, is maintainer, or Diego, if you remember, is maintainer okay to create their own, you're muted, Mats, their own... So maintainer should be all right, or is it? I can set owner actually. I will make you all owners on your student groups on GitLab, and that makes it so that you can actually create and remove whatever you like inside of that space. So then please create a project inside of this where you place those two folders. So that, because then we have access to them as well if we need to like do some field circling, what's it called? Look at if something goes wrong, then we can access them as well. So I will do that right now.
Well, in other courses we will create a group.
Yeah,
Maybe
I know.
we should do the same thing in this course.
Yeah, okay, I will do that. That is maybe safer for later when we have some. Yeah, okay, I will do that right now. So you will get an exercise. What should we call it? Exercise.
Whatever.
This is kind of an exercise. So yeah, I'd call it exercise. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the demo for creating our first pipeline today at 15:15 in our usual Zoom room, and on Monday we can meet again on Zoom to solve the problems that you have found to execute your own pipeline. And then last, I will give you some other links here in the last, like the Wikipedia links to continuous integration and continuous delivery, and Martin Fowler, should have put capitalizing, article on continuous integration that is longer than the post that you will read, and more, it mentions more advanced and technical concepts. So I didn't put, even if it is quite complete, I didn't put it before because I'm not so sure of the background of each of you, and maybe it opens more questions than enlightens. But as additional link, if you want to know more, here you have the Martin Fowler article, and that's all.
Perfect. So now I was totally focusing on creating folders. So they will be up in just really soon. You will have them so you can create your projects. Great. Anything to add? I think this week, at least if I look at the main schedule with like, there is not much happening, no like IT pubs or anything like that. So we can really focus on the studies this week. There is, Mats, we have forgotten, or we haven't talked about, but we have in this course, we should have like this 3 veckors kontroll to make sure that everybody are active in the course. How do we do that, Mats? Should I just add a Slack message and everybody everybody who reacts on that is active on the course?
Yeah, activity control, yes.
Yeah.
And what your suggestion, I think, is good enough.
Yeah. So please make sure. I will add a Slack post. Please just react in some way on that post, and you're good. That means that you are still active in the course, because we must unregister those that are not active. You know the drill. You've been here for 2.5 years, so you probably know why. Okay. Anything else, Sophia? So the seminar, it is, you said 15:15, so it is 15:15, right? I might have scheduled it at 13:15, but it's 15:15.
Okay. Usually I miss the o'clock or 15 past, but
but is it 15:15 or 13:15?
I thought that it was 15.
Yeah, then I just misscheduled probably.
If you
last week,
want it at 13, I can do it at 13. So I can change it. We can say that it's 13.
I think that actually is better, since it's been in the schedule, and I know that some have something at 15. So
Yeah.
Probably, if it's possible for you, Diego, it would be nice.
Yes. I'm posting it in on Slack.
Yeah. And just to also look ahead for next week. Next week there is no more. This was the last new part in this part of the course. So next week there is no more new theory in this part, and there is probably no seminar, right? Next week.
Nope. We can talk about the assignment.
Yeah.
So
That,
no demo, but we can clarify something or answer questions about what the assignment asks.
Yeah, and we will do that. I think we have discussed this actually. We will do that on Monday, right? No, on Wednesday.
Yeah, on Monday we will publish the text.
Yeah, we will publish it on Monday, and then the assignment on Monday, and then we will on this stand-up on Wednesday we will clarify and have a discussion around that assignment, and then the deadline for that assignment is it that one? I have too many deadlines in my schedule. It's somewhere
around the 7th. Yeah, it was like the Friday of the week after.
Yeah, exactly. So you will have 2 weeks for the assignment starting Monday. Great, and so and then we will, after that, if we go even a week further, then me, Mats, and Niklas will start to talk more about the architectural parts of the course as well. We will see. We will have a meeting and see when that will kick in. Perfect. Everything is good then. I'm just postponing to see if there are any more questions. No more questions what I can see off right now. Great. Have a nice week, everybody, and see you this afternoon then. I forgot to click the outro button. Now I will. Bye.